Ruh-roh, looks like Palantir has some competition coming its way. And it's not good for any of us. I should have seen this coming. I knew this was gonna happen. So I got this Google alert. I have Google alerts set up for a couple of things, one of them being for the Blair Institute, the Tony Blair Institute. And there was the Substack article written by Democracy for Sale talking about how Tony Blair had announced that he's building some AI tools to compete with Palantir. And this is gonna be so bad for a number of reasons. One, because Tony Blair is a war criminal. You know, everything that happened with Iraq, the disaster that was Iraq, that was Tony Blair. And George Bush, but like mostly Tony Blair. And two, the Tony Blair Institute is just basically a company that hawks Oracle technology around the world. And a lot of you probably already see where this is going, but let me tell you a little story because this has a lot of twists and turns to it. So since 2021, Larry Ellison, the founder of Oracle, you know, the database company, the new owner of TikTok, the consortium of TikTok, the owner of Paramount Pictures, and going after Warner Brothers Discovery, that Larry Ellison has pumped over $348 million into Tony Blair's Institute. And the Tony Blair Institute is what's known as a think tank. And I use think tank very loosely because former employees have said that working there was like basically doing tech sales for Oracle. And the Blair Institute operates in 45 different countries. And the role he has is to make all of these different relationships with government officials and then start sliding Oracle into all of the conversations so that Oracle can take over all of their technology. So you should think of the Tony Blair Institute as Larry Ellison's global sales force with just a former prime minister as the front man. Now, some of you may also be familiar with Tony Blair's name because he is currently the head chair of the Gaza Peace Committee, to which I say, is the peace in the room with us, Mr. Blair? Yeah, didn't think so. And the reason Ellison can place him there is because Larry Ellison is Israel. And I mean that in the most literal way possible. Like, step aside Jacob, this is the land of Ellison. I did a whole video about Larry Ellison's relationship with Israel and Netanyahu over on my YouTube channel if you feel like diving into that deeper. Okay, so Blair is head of the Gaza peace effort, which, spoiler alert, has nothing to do with peace, other than maybe getting a piece of that Gaza land. It's about positioning Oracle and Ellison for what comes after. The reconstruction, the infrastructure, which all need databases and cloud services and government systems, all of which Oracle provides. Now, here's something that a lot of people don't realize, or at least don't talk about nearly enough, is that Larry Ellison tried to buy Palantir from Peter Thiel and Alex Karp back in 2016. He wanted the whole company, the whole enchilada. Ellison had just finished building Endeca in 2012, which was Oracle's surveillance software that had merged police records, 911 calls, and people's social media accounts together so that the Chicago police could trace people and protesters in real time. And then, like the complete scumbag that he is, he let Oracle market that system to China, which was then used against Uyghur Muslims and dissidents. Ellison already had his own surveillance tools. He knew how to build that, but Palantir was ahead of him when it came to the AI side. So of course, he tried to buy them. He had Peter Thiel over to his home, did his whole schmoozing thing, propositioned him, and Peter Thiel said no. Here's the thing about saying no to Larry Ellison. There's this quote attributed to him from Silicon Valley that goes something like, "It's not enough that I win, everyone else must lose." That's who this guy is. He doesn't take no for an answer. He doesn't move on. That's why he's 82 years old and still doing this shit. This man is fueled by spite and power. So, RIP WBD. And for years, it seemed like he had moved on, like he was focusing on greener pastures, but as you'll soon come to find out, he didn't move on. He was just playing the long game. In 2021, 3 things start happening. 1, Ellison starts pumping money into Tony Blair's think tank. 2, Oracle builds 2 underground data centers in Jerusalem, and the IDF uses it as their military data center. And 3, Oracle starts something called Project Manta, which is the secret classified project with the IDF. Then in 2023, the Big G starts in Gaza, and in January of 2024, Palantir signs a contract with Oracle to partner. And it's during that time that Peter Thiel moves the Foundry over to Oracle's databases. Soon after that, in 2024, Palantir signs this big partnership with Israel's Ministry of Defense. I wonder how he got that. And they're providing the AI software that they're training for these systems called Lavender, Gospel, Where's Daddy, that generate these AI targeted lists for bombings. And this is Palantir's big moment to prove that their technology works. And while despicable in every human way possible on paper, this deal was huge for Palantir, right? This looked like a great deal for both Oracle and Palantir to partner together because Palantir got to be introduced to one of the wealthiest ongoing war nations in the world, and this opened him up to all of this UAE money, Saudi money, all of that. Cut to 2025, Trump's in office, and Peter Thiel gets all of these government contracts alongside Larry Ellison and Oracle. And he thinks he's arrived. I'm sure he's on cloud 9 with his company, but this is a lesson he's going to have to learn the hard way. Because you don't partner with somebody like Larry Ellison. He sucks the life out of you. He's a life sucker. He's a life ruiner. He ruins people's lives. Now it's 2026, Project Menta has concluded, and Tony Blair has announced that he is going to be building an AI tool competitor to Palantir. Oh, if I were Peter Thiel right now, and thank God I'm not, I would be crashing out. I would be pissed. Here's why this is genius in the most slimy way possible, because Oracle can't build their own Palantir competitor right now, right? They're in a contract with Palantir. They're in a partnership. There's non-competes. There's legal restrictions. But Tony Blair can. He just runs this independent think tank. He's just a guy. So it's this cute little workaround where Tony Blair can build all these AI platforms for governments funded by Larry Ellison, and he can use all of Palantir's homework. Because think about it, for the past few years, Peter Thiel has been perfecting this technology, testing it out on Gaza. And all of the data from these automated weapons, they're all flowing through Oracle's servers. And Oracle's guy is the one building the competitor. So Thiel basically did all of Ellison's R&D for him, for free. Checkmate. Motherfucker. And all of this is underscored with my thoughts being, what do you mean Oracle's building their own Palantir? Guess who's holding all of your healthcare data? Guess who runs over half of the UK government systems? Guess who Tony Blair is pushing to manage all of the NHS data? Oracle has it all of your healthcare data, the data from 45 different countries, Israeli military data, all of Palantir's AI targeting systems data. So while everybody's been talking about Peter Thiel, the Antichrist this, and Palantir that, nobody's focused on Larry Ellison and Oracle. And that's exactly the way that he likes it. But fear not, I will be keeping a very close eye on this maniacal, militant, megalomaniac and his stupid-ass database company.